Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass, live and in living color, here with you only on the graveyard. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are live. We are in living color. And tonight, oh yeah, it's the March Madness. Oh yeah, dig it. Where's the Macho Man at? May he rest in peace, of course. Gotta love Randy Savage. But tonight on Grande's Graveyard, this is a second time ever. Yes, ladies and gents, this last year was a very fun show as we did the March Madness Horror Edition. And this year, it'll be no exception, ladies and gents. We have Horror March Movie Madness, Grande's Graveyard style. Yes. And of course, this year is going to be a little bit different. Last year, of course, I did pick 32 movies and I did start all the first round matchups and then we counted down from there. This year, I wanted to get you guys more involved. I wanted you guys at least more in the swing of things. So I sat down with a pen and paper. How the hell do I get the graveyard listeners as involved as possible with this thing? And basically what I did was over the course of a couple of weeks, I would upload 3 horror movie matchup polls a day. And you guys, as the viewers, subscribers, followers, friends, whatever you want to call yourselves, of Grande's Graveyard, voted on these movies and decided the movies that would come and enter the tournament. So basically what happened was you took 64, narrowed it down to 32, and tonight I'll narrow down and eliminate 31 films until there can be only one winner of the Grande's Graveyard March Madness. Yes, I'm very excited here. Of course, I shared here this website, UWUFUFU, which was actually shared to me by my good friend, Matteo Appendino. He's the one, he reached out to me. And this is about a month or so ago when I did the Giallo show with Matteo. And he said, hey, I want to talk to you about this website. I don't know if you're aware of it. And he shared me the site. And I was like, this would be great to do the March Madness shows on. So I figured, I was like, let me try to put this all together, make it all work. And, so I wanted to thank Matteo. I do see he's in the house. I want to thank Matteo for showing me this awesome little website. And also to my Twilight Zone fans, I created a Twilight Zone ultimate tier episode lists where you can decide what is the best Twilight Zone episode of the original series. So that's something that's really, really cool. But of course, with this, if you haven't filled out a bracket yet, you can go down in the description box below me here and you could fill one out. If you haven't filled out a bracket, if you don't know what brackets are, click it. And basically you just hit play and start picking movies. If you did pick a bracket, if you did fill out more than one, if you filled out just one, let me know what you had in the finals. Let me know what your final 4 was. Let me know what you had winning the whole damn thing. Because out of 32 movies to this point, out of this, before the recording of the show and during it, I guess, we've had 22 out of 32 movies have won at least one person's bracket, which is astounding. I couldn't have scripted it better. So it looks like it all worked out. Before we get into the show, we will get to comments and we will get to the movies that you guys voted on to, or I guess lack thereof, did not vote on to qualify for this list of top 32 and the March Madness round of 32. So I'm very excited here tonight, Grande's Graveyard. Let's get to the chat. Let's see what y'all have to say. We got Miss C in the house. Ciao, Grande and friends. Winner, chicken dinner. Who will be the winner? Only on the graveyard. Yes, Miss C filled out the bracket and she had Friday the 13th. I think she did it a couple of times for fun because she had not done or was familiar with March Madness, and of course filled out a couple times. Friday the 13th took home the winner chicken dinner trophy for her. So Anthony Chobot's in the house. How you doing, buddy? By the way, thank you for the shirt. I did the unboxing video on Monday. I got to check the unboxing video out. I saw that you did a picture on Instagram. So Anthony, I'm very happy that it got there safe and sound. And to anyone that's ordered a shirt, don't worry. I haven't forgot about you. I've been shipping out like 4 every weekend on my own dime because of my own goddamn laziness. Well, not laziness, more personalness of shipping them out. But if you have ordered and you're thinking, oh my God, did he forget about me? I didn't. I swear, just had some personal shit going on. I will get you guys your shirts if you ordered them. I've just been doing them 4 at a time. Ciao, Grande. Let the madness begin. Oh yeah, Macho March Madness. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Yeah, let's quote Michael Keaton on the day that the Beetlejuice 2 trailer drops. So why the hell not? Hi to all the Graveyardians. Hello, Graveyardians. Slasher Fred is here. Here you are born to be a king. You are the true prince of the universe. We have Slasher Fred in the house. Welcome, my friend. I like Guardians of the Graveyard. That's a cool one. Maybe Graveyard Disciples. That's a fun one. I saw there's a wrestling tag team called the Graveyard Disciples. And I was like, that is amazing. I'm going to get one of their shirts just because it says Graveyard Disciples on. I was like, this is too perfect. We got Brett is in the house. What the fuck is up, Graveyard? All caps, baby. We got Texas in the house. Hola grande. Welcome, Texas. Hope all is well with you. We got good brother Tom in the house. Hey, John and Graveyard people. The Graveyard people. Hell yeah, I like it. I was totally addicted to the bracket once I finally figured it out. Yeah, March Madness could become addicting. So, yeah, like I said, if you haven't played and you want to fill out your own bracket, you go right in the description box, click the link, and you can fill out your own Grande's Graveyard bracket right here and now. You don't even have to be listening to me. You can fill it out and let me know what you have in your final four, final two, and your winner, of course. But before we get into the madness known as Grande's Graveyard March Madness, I figure we discuss the movies that you, the subscribers, were responsible for eliminating in one way, shape, or form. Of course, I know one vote doesn't necessarily usually go a long way. However, we had a couple of these that were decided by just one vote. So we also had some heavyweights. I'm talking heavyweights that were knocked out in round one by you, the people. So you, the people, spoke. This was the 32 movies voted in by you, of course, that we'll be discussing here tonight. But I want to run over the movies that were eliminated by you guys. May was eliminated by you guys. The original Alien was eliminated by you guys. I could not fucking believe it. Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight was eliminated by you guys. This next one was the most shocking for me. Anthology Battle, Three Extremes against Trilogy of Terror. Trilogy of Terror got 29 votes to Three Extremes, 0. Now, one person voted for Three Extremes against Trilogy of Terror, which is wild because right now there's also on the community tab a spreadsheet of a fake betting page where if you were to place bets on this, if this was DraftKings or FanDuel or whatever the hell, when you could place bets, Trilogy of Terror is the longest shot to win, although it blew out and shut out Three Extremes to get into the tournament, which I found wild. Black Sunday was eliminated in the round of 64. April Fool's Day, The Lords of Salem. It Follows, which I know got me a lot of controversy last year. Everyone was really upset with the It Follows making it to the Elite Eight. It will not be in the tournament this year. You guys eliminated Cabin in the Woods, went over by one vote, 51% to 49%. Omen beat Omen 2. Jeepers Creepers beat Joyride. The Burning had 28 votes. Madman had 0. Madman got eliminated in the first round, did not get a vote. Black Sabbath got 3-1, outvoted by Creepshow. American Werewolf in London outvoted Ginger Snaps. Cannibal Holocaust outvoted The Blair Witch Project. Sleepaway Camp 2 went over Sleepaway Camp 3. Return of the Living Dead went over Let Sleeping Corpses Lie by a lot, 91 to 9%. Blood on Satan's Claw beat Jugface. Phantasm went over Dario Argento's Phenomena, which I thought that was interesting. I saw somebody posted, they were like, oh, how could you put Argento's worst against Phantasm? I'm like, dude, if you think Phenomena's Argento's worst, you haven't seen enough Argento films. You haven't seen anything he made past in 1987, buddy. We had Final Destination 2 on a one-vote upset against Final Destination 1 qualified. Wreck went over VHS. American Psycho over Psycho 2. Maniac over Henry. Zombie buried The Beyond. Holy shit. The Beyond got buried. I mean, that's just wild. Pet Sematary buried Misery. Perfect Blue barely scraped out a W over The Lodge. The closest of all the votes was Fright Night versus The Lost Boys. That was the most votes, and it was decided by one. The Lost Boys was down 10 votes at a point, came all the way back and won by one vote. 47 total votes. And one extra for The Lost Boys to qualify over Fright Night. Silence of the Lambs went over The Hitcher. We had Candyman go over Jacob's Ladder in a blowout. Martyrs go over Funny Games in a blowout. Dracula 31 going over Frankenstein 31 in a very close one. House went over House on Haunted Hill in a very close one. And that, of course, was our list of course, the first round. So 32 films were eliminated by you, the people. I appreciate anyone and everyone who voted. Of course, if you filled out a bracket, and like I said, you want to let me know, we're going to fill this thing out live. Let's catch up with comments, and then we'll get right into this son of a bitch. Let's see. I think we were here. Cinephile Sanity's in the house. Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome, my buddy. I played the bracket a bunch of times. I'm wondering if you're the guy that had Creepshow winning every time, because somebody had Creepshow And we'll go through the, who, what movies have won for people, I guess, before we get into everything. But someone had Creepshow winning a bunch, and I'm guessing it's you. I don't know. I could be dead wrong, but that's my guess. Graveyard Disciples is a Black Label Society song, which I love Black Label Society. Voting is always lopsided. Believe it or not, we had three or four matchups decided by a vote. Had quite a few blowouts. We had 2 shutouts, which I could not believe. But we had some fun ones. Speaking of Alien, the classic 1950s movie that is said to be inspiration of the 1958 movie It, The Terror from Beyond Space. It has a plot involving a dangerous alien stowaway, which I'll be honest, I couldn't believe Predator beat Alien. I was like, wow, like that is absolutely crazy. Good riddance did follows. Well, after last year, I pissed everybody off. So you know what? It is what it is, buddy. I can't stick around for the whole stream. Got to do editing and a stream at 11. Dude, no worries. I appreciate you sticking your head in, of course, and filling out the bracket. Bye, losers. LO, I picked Creepshow a couple times, but I also did brackets for other movies on there too. Okay, so Sean Blue had a couple movies winning, because the craziest thing about this was, of 32 movies, we had 22 separate movies win at least one person's bracket. Now, I don't have the numbers as to, the total amount of brackets filled out, but it was quite wild. I was looking at the championship rate here, which is going to be hard for you guys to see. So I don't even know if we should go over that. But we've had 22 separate movies win so far. And now we're going to get into my picks, ladies and gents. So everybody, I don't have anything to cheers y'all with, but cheers. Cheers to a safe, happy, healthy weekend. And let the madness begin only on the Graveyard. Let's play. Let's start this son of a bitch out. Let's start our round of 32. First round, first matchup on the night, as Predator takes on Blood on Satan's Claw. Yes, Predator versus Blood on Satan's Claw. Now, interesting thing about this bracket, or about this, March Madness thing, every time you play, like if, let's say I refresh the page right now, we'd get 32 different matchups. So every single time you play it, you're going to get different first round matchups, second round matchups, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, it's not one of those things where, oh, I played it once. Hey, Grande, why did you put Predator against Blood on Satan's Claw? What a weird matchup. Well, if I hit refresh, that's not going to be the matchup, and it would completely shuffle every other matchup. So that's just something I wanted to mention for you guys here, just in case people did not know. Let's see. I also did brackets fast, so it would have random winners. Okay, so Cinephile had fun with this. I had Creepshow almost to the end. Toughest head-to-head for me was Creepshow versus Pet Sematary, which it came down to that for you. That's crazy. I know my friend Brianne said she was filling it out. She had a hard time picking between Pet Sematary and The Lost Boys. The Lost Boys, I believe, before Creepshow just had this crazy run, The Lost Boys was the most voted upon and winning movie on this thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But let's get into my thoughts here. We start this thing off with, honestly, an unfair matchup, in my opinion, because as much as I really do enjoy Blood on Satan's Claw, it's a really good folk horror movie, and I love Linda Hayden as Angel Blake, and the entire feel that movie has, the whole aspect of children's horror being really prominent. To me, this is really a slam dunk for Predator. I think Predator is absolutely fantastic movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger's one of his best roles, one of his best films. I love Carl Weathers in the movie. May he rest in peace. I just think Predator is one of those movies that's just really fun all around. It's a great cast. I love Bill Duke. I love the Long Tall Sally song. Just amazing stuff. So I really, really, really like Predator. For me, it's moving on to round 2, ladies and gents. That's an easy pick right here. Matchup number 2. Oh, man. Now, all right. This is a little bit closer for me. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, versus Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers. Holy moly. All right. This one's a little bit tougher for me. I actually grew up with both of these movies. I was a huge Tales from the Dark Side, the TV show fan. I have the entire collection on DVD. I wish to God one day they'd take the old film prints and actually make that show look good, because I didn't realize that that show was shot on film. And if they did the proper restorals of the actual camera negatives, you could actually make that show look good. But of course, the DVDs that we have, the horrible DVD looking, transfers that we have is what we have. But however, of course, you do have the Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, which I believe is out on 4K now, directed by John Harrison, who's one of my favorite horror celebrities that there ever was. Of course, he does the iconic music for Creepshow. He's the screwdriver zombie in Dawn of the Dead. He directed, of course, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. He had also directed Clive Barker's Book of Blood. He's directed some episodes of Creepshow and Tales from the Dark Side. Just a great, talented guy. Did the music for Day of the Dead. Always really loved John Harrison. I think John Harrison is one of the more underrated names in horror's history. But on the other hand, you have Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, which is one of my favorite slasher movies of all time. One of, in my opinion, sentimental slasher movies of the 1980s, and a movie that was self-aware long before anybody knew or of course, there was a Scream. I mean, you have Pamela Springsteen playing the Angel of Death, Angela Baker, and I think in my personal favorite role ever. I think she is Oscar worthy in the role as, the Angel of Death. Angela Johnson, just love her in the movie. Love all the colorful characters. Of course, the two kids that are going to scare her is Freddy and Jason. And they even put the iconic glove and mask on the poster. One of my favorite posters of all time. The Holy Grail of posters. If I could ever find the one sheet of that, I would probably drop 5 figures on it if I ever saw it. That's how badly I want that fucking thing. But of course, all the creative, iconic kills. What are you going to do? No, I'm going to use a drill. The outhouse of shit, stabbing the girl in the back and drowning her in the outhouse of shit. I always thought that was just such a brutal death scene. I love the girl that's going to tell gets strangled. The whole finale where she's just cleaned house with the entire camp. Good night, campers. The song, I'm a Happy Camper. Just a great slasher movie, in my opinion. One of the all-time bests. Ones that mix the cheese and the humor and the comedy with the horror so perfectly for me. I think it's a perfect mesh of horror, comedy, B-movie fun. And it's, to me, one of the all-time great slasher movies alongside Part 3. And I was heartbroken Part 3 did not win. And I think it got 1 or 2 votes of anybody. So I know Part 2 is preferred. Granted, I like Part 3 better. But in this particular matchup, I'm going to have to go with my heart here. My brain says Tales from the Dark Side of the movie. My heart says Sleepaway Camp 2, and I can't go against my heart, baby. Pamela Springsteen's moving on to the round of 16. Yes. Next matchup here. All right, yeah, we got another blowout here. Unfortunately, to Trilogy of Terror, which somehow swept its way of 3 Extremes, which I think is the biggest of all the things voted in by the fans. That one blew my mind the most. I was like, dude, it has to be a case of people haven't seen 3 Extremes. Like, that is the only explanation I can even fathom as to how Trilogy of Terror would beat it. I know it's more maybe seen in America, but holy shit, 3 Extremes is one of my favorite horror anthologies, probably my second favorite ever. But Trilogy of Terror swept it. Of course, I like Trilogy of Terror. I do think it's an iconic horror anthology movie. Everyone remembers the Zuni fetish doll, but what people forget is Karen Black played 4 different roles in 3 different stories. The first one being one where she seduces her student. She's like a teacher, seduces her student, and he basically thinks that he's wearing the pants in the relationship, and the twist of the matter is she is. And then the second story where it's like she's playing 2 evil twins of herself. I always really liked that. Karen Black's fantastic in Trilogy of Terror. Karen Black's one of the biggest takeaways. And of course, Dan Curtis, who in my opinion is the most underrated horror filmmaker ever. But for me, this is a slam dunk for An American Werewolf in London. You can't beat American Werewolf in London with this movie. I mean, shit. I mean, the slaughtered lamb and I see trouble on the way. Don't go out tonight. I mean, just the amazing Creedence Clearwater Revival fucking soundtrack, and John Landis again with a movie that blends horror and comedy quite well. It's a movie it is funny, but I thought it was quite effectively scary too. It's another one. This is more whereas Sleepaway Camp 2 is a B horror comedy. This is an A horror comedy, and it's like it just clicks on every single cylinder. It has a love angle in there. It has some laughs. It has some terrors. It has things that make you think about it. It's a really great movie. In my opinion, it's the greatest werewolf film ever made, arguably. And, of course, it's going to move on into the Sweet 16, ladies and gents. Next matchup here, Carrie taking on Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers, where'd you get those eyes? How to hypnotize? Jeepers Creepers is a movie that has really grown on me. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, because the ending, the movie has a really, really weak ending. But the rest of the movie, I think, is really strong. I love Justin Long in the movie and Gina Phillips. I thought their chemistry was fantastic. Of course, now the movie, because once we all found out about Victor Salva Grant. I didn't know about this stuff when I first saw the movie. But now knowing what I know, it's just it does make the movie. It puts it in the back of your mind, the whole Victor Salva thing, which kind of ruins the movie for me a little bit. And of course, on the other hand, you have De Palma's Carrie, which I mean, of the 1970s, man, there are a few that rival Carrie, and that's saying a lot. I think the 1970s is the greatest decade horror ever had. You have Dawn of the Dead, you have Halloween, you have Black Christmas, you have the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Carrie stands right there with them, man. And Brian De Palma just hit an absolute grand slam with this movie, and it's also, of course, the first Stephen King adaptation from a novel to become a feature film. You have Piper Laurie's legendary performance, may she rest in peace. Of course, you have Sissy Spacek. I believe both of them were nominated respectively at the Academy Awards that year. I mean, how often is that going to happen for a horror movie to get not one but two acting nominations at the Academy Awards? I mean, that's saying something. And I just adore Carrie. I love the way De Palma directs it. I love all the experimental camera techniques that he uses. And of course, he was using years before in movies like Sisters and movies like, that he would go on to do in The Fury and Blowout with John Travolta. I think that this is really the movie that made Brian De Palma a household name. This is the movie that really, he had done experimental work. He had done, I think, Phantom of the Paradise before this, which were good movies. And of course, Sisters with Margot Kidder. Those were good movies, but this was the movie to me that made De Palma. Like De Palma after this he just went on a roll that he really didn't look back from until towards maybe the end of his career when it came to like the Black Dahlia and shit like that. That's when De Palma kind of fell off the map. But man, he had a good 20 plus year run. And I think Carrie was the start of that. So for me, I feel bad for Jeepers Creepers. This is a bad movie for it to face, but Carrie is moving on. Sweet 16, baby. Let's check in with the chat before we get into our next matchup here, because I've neglected y'all for far too long. Let's go here. Let's see where we were. I think we were here. I had a couple head-to-heads with Creepshow and Return of the Living Dead. I believe those two, I know Creepshow was the highest voted movie of all of them, but Return of the Living Dead was definitely in the top 3 or 4 as well. So Return of the Living Dead and Creepshow are definitely some favorites here. Go, Carrie, go. Carrie's moving to the Sweet 16, my friend. LO, let's go, Scary Carrie. Scary Carrie. Speaking of Carrie, one of the 80s Carrie comedy ripoffs is the movie Teen Witch, which I never minded, but I don't know. I'm not huge on it. I actually really, if there's a Carrie ripoff, remake, what have you, I always really liked the 2002 Angela Bettis Carrie. And I thought she was better as the role of Carrie as opposed to Sissy Spacek. And I know no one would agree with that, but I thought Angela Bettis in that was so fantastic. The movie around her, it's a little bit TV, a little bit whitewashed, a little bit, I don't know, it doesn't really work as good as the Palmas film, but I thought Bettis worked better than Spacek in that role. I thought Bettis was born to play Carrie White, man. She's just so good in that. Better be a Sleepaway Camp as many times as I picked it for you, LMAO. Well, hey, gotta love Sleepaway Camp too. Also had to have Cannibal Holocaust win a bracket since that movie turns people into little cryberries. Oh, man, Cannibal Holocaust, one of the best movies ever made. I love Cannibal Holocaust, so happy it won somebody's bracket. Never heard of Three Extremes? That is a shame. That Three Extremes is one of the best. I think it's the second best horror anthology ever made. It really is. And I couldn't believe not one person voted for it. I was like, wow, I was just flabbergasted. I see a bad moon rising. Come on, Credence. Trilogy of Terror had George Gaines, who was known for playing the police captain in the original Police Academy series. And I really enjoyed Trilogy of Terror, just a rough matchup for it. R.I.P. Jeepers Creepers? Yes, R.I.P. Jeepers Creepers. That's an next to impossible thing for it to beat. I mean, it's just impossible. I like Jeepers Creepers, but this is Carrie, of course. Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. If you think the ending of Jeepers Creepers is weak, don't watch any after part 2. Just saying. Well, I don't like Jeepers Creepers 3. I saw Jeepers Creepers 3, and that was a terrible movie. Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 are fun if you don't take them seriously, like Carrie, but Carrie should easily win this. And it did easily win that. I don't think that's even close. Carrie, definitely a horror Cinderella story. Yes, with instead of the glass cracked slipper and a beautiful pumpkin, chariot, you'll have, of course, blood raining from the roof, people burning alive, electrocuted alive, and Carrie White coming home, reaching the hand out of the grave. One of horror's greatest jump scares. Gotta love Carrie. Drew's Reviews is in the house. What's up, dude? Hope all is well with you, Drew. 3 extremes. Kal-El, welcome. The 2002 movie Carrie was originally written. Yes, it was going to be like a mini series, and of course didn't get picked up. We got Russ in the house. Kind of unfair to put an iconic movie against a great but lower tier film. Maybe iconic versus iconic would be more frustrating, but fair. And like I said before, I don't know if you were in the house, Rusty. I did not put them together. They actually are all randomized. So if you were to play it right now, if you click the link below, fill out your own bracket, you'll get 32 different matchups then from what I got here. So again, every single time you play it, it's going to be different. You'll have different matchups. And of course, certain movies will go further, depending on their matchups. One movie you might be mid on, it may be better than all the movies it faces, and hell, before you know it's in the finals. So, it gets interesting here. This is going to be a lot of fun. Jeepers Creepers 3 is okay after watching Reborn. I didn't watch Reborn. I avoided anything after Jeepers Creepers 3. Speaking of Carrie, one of my favorite TV series that Edie McClurg was in was Small Wonder, where she played the role of the obnoxious neighbor, Bonnie Brendel. Well, you got to love Edie McClurg and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Ferris Bueller and all the great stuff she was in. Yeah, there's quite a few uneven matchups, Rusty, and that's just how it is. Exactly. It Follows going all the way. I fucking wish, Ben Grimm. I wish It Follows did not qualify here. Cabin in the Woods beat it by a vote, and that was your guys' doing. I had no touch in that. If I could have rigged it. That's how you know it's not rigged, because I should have rigged It Follows to be in there, God damn it. But it is what it is. Reborn was my number one worst film 23, so it got an award of some kind. So you got to look at the positives here, guys. Got to look at the positives. Let's get into this matchup, though, as we have another, I think, blowout, unfortunately. I love Rec. I think it's a great Spanish found footage horror movie. It's scary. It's effective. It's really raw and gritty. But, man, against the Return of the Living Dead, there are a few movies that are going to, not pale in comparison. The Return of the Living Dead is one of horror's best movies and one of the best, probably the best non-Romero zombie movie. It's up there. It's either that or Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, aka The Living Dead at the Manchester Morgue. And that's why I had those two face each other, because I feel like they're the best two non-Romero zombie movies. So I was like, let them do battle. Of course, probably Return of the Living Dead is the way more seen movie of those. So Return of the Living Dead stomped it. And man, here I'm gonna just have to say Return of the Living Dead stomps this. I like Rec, I do. But man, Return of the Living Dead is just a slam dunk here. Return of the Living Dead will move on into the Sweet 16. Next matchup here. Okay, it's an interesting one. Some old school versus new school. The Candyman versus the Witch. The Witch. Yes. Candyman versus the Witch. Interesting here. So I saw The Witch in theaters and was quite impressed by it. I thought Robert Eggers did a great job in the director's chair. It was his directorial debut, and he has gone on to give us some awesome movies, whether it be The Lighthouse, which is my favorite from him, also my favorite Robert Pattinson performance, and then, of course, follow that up with The Northman, which I know was a financial bomb. However, he's going to go on to do the Nosferatu movie now. Granted, it's with Bill Skarsgård, so don't hold your breath, but I do really like Robert Eggers as a filmmaker, and The Witch was no exception. I thought The Witch was a tremendous, simple but effective type horror movie that really kind of, brought out family horrors and the horrors of unsettlement and a lot of different things in the movie that I really, really quite liked. The lore and Black Phillip, dost thou wish to live deliciously? I love The Witch. Thought The Witch was brilliant from start to finish. That's to me a really good I think it was A24 horror movie that just really worked for me. On the other hand, you have the original Candyman. Of course, that was in the bracket in the tournament last year. It lost out to Hellraiser as Barker faced Barker. And I think unanimously, except I believe Mr. Abernathy, James Abernathy, put Candyman, but everybody else went Hellraiser. Candyman finds itself in the tournament again, a returning foe here. And man, I love Candyman. Virginia Madsen's fantastic as the lead. Tony Todd, in my opinion, just brings one of the great screen presences in horror movies history. I mean, I just love, hello, Helen. It was always you. I mean, of course, I don't do it as good as Tony Todd, but Tony Todd is just a champion in this role. I love him as Daniel Robitaille. Just always thought the story, the backstory of, the Candyman who loved this white woman and her family did not approve. Thus, they cut off his hand, replaced it with a hook, and covered him in honey for the bees to get him alive. And then, of course, if you say his name 5 times in the mirror, the Candyman comes to get you. Of course, I always remember the story of the little boy telling Virginia Madsen the story of the kid that got attacked in the bathroom and how they do some of those side angle black and white shots from the past. Just eerie, a really wonderful legend and execution. I always loved the Candyman, and the music in the film I think is just top notch. I just love the score of the movie. I want to say Bernard Rose was the director. Who the hell did the music for the movie though? I forget. If anyone knows off the top of their head, let me know with Candyman who did the score. I think this is close. I actually really think this is close. Because you have a really good new school horror movie that I like, and you have, of course, a 90s classic, in my humble opinion. So let's hear what the chat has to say on this one. Of course, let's see. Candyman, The Witch is 1A24. I don't mind, but I still think it's overrated. Okay, fair enough. I actually really liked The Witch. I thought The Witch was really good. I don't know if overrated would come to mind. I know when it came out, it was one of those movies that was supposed to get a limited run, made a lot of buzz, made a lot of noise, and then ultimately got a decently sized theatrical run, made a nice chunk of change. Of course, it's the movie that put Anya Taylor-Joy on the map. Now she's in everything. She's Princess Peach. She's in fucking Mad Max. She's literally in everything now, Anya Taylor-Joy. But I really, really, really like The Witch, man. The Witch is a good movie. What makes Candyman a classic is that it was the first to include the African-American antagonist. Most horror antagonists were always considered to be white Caucasian. That's a great point. And I know not a lot of people know this. If you read Clive Barker's original story, there is no such thing as the whole race thing. The whole race thing was added by the filmmaker, Bernard Rose. He's the one that added that in, and then they get the movie that you get. And I think that's one of the most important aspects of it. It really was. You're right. It was just a change in pace. And, of course, you do have a biracial encounter between our lead protagonist, Virginia Madsen, our lead antagonist, and the African-American Tony Todd. But I thought the two of them just had wonderful chemistry that just popped off the screen. I really enjoy the two of them together. And that's why in the sequels of Candyman, when it was always you, Helen, but in the sequel with this lady, it was always you, Helen, but now it's this Donna D'Errico and Candyman 3 or whatever. You never really recaptured that chemistry, and I don't think you could. I don't think you could if you tried. It was just those two actors at that time, that place, that era that really made that movie work. I hear that seeing The Witch in the theater was a better experience, but I had to disagree with that since I could barely understand the strong accents until I got the Blu-ray. That's totally understandable. When I saw The Lighthouse, I saw that in the theater, was impressed, but I remember the first thing we said as we left was, I have to buy the Blu-ray and watch it with subtitles because I felt like I had missed a lot, and hell yeah, I did because of the accents. I mean, the accents are very thick, and you can miss a lot when you don't understand. I honestly wish they just would have put subtitles. I wouldn't have minded that, but I'm sure people would have bitched, but it is what it is. Mateo says, do you agree that The Witch is underrated? I'd agree. I know that at the time, it was popping. It's not a movie that seems to be talked about that much now. Like, it's not, I don't know. Like, does the movie have a giant cult following? Is the movie super popular amongst horror fans now? I don't know. I really don't. I always liked it. I think I have the 4K of it somewhere. Really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was just a really effective fucking period piece horror. But yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly. I think it's a damn good one. No matter what came up against The Witch, I chose it over The Witch. As much as you think Hereditary is overrated, I think the same about The Witch. That's totally fine. Hey, man, that's totally fine. We're all entitled to think what we want to think. And okay, so The Witch. So you're saying of the 32 movies on this list, The Witch, no matter what it faced, was going to the bottom for you. So that's totally fine. Hey, there's got to be a best. There's got to be a worst of 32. So right now, as far as the people that played the bracket voted winning percentage, Trilogy of Terror was considered the weakest movie as a majority here. That's the movie that won the least amount of matchups, which is crazy because it swept three extremes to get in, which I was like, how the hell does that happen? But it happens. Philip Glass did the music for Candyman, and he nailed it. I love that piano score, the overhead tracking shots of Chicago. Great stuff. I don't think The Witch is underrated or overrated since it's simply a good modern time period horror movie. That's a good way to put it. I know, Sean, I'm going to second that. I'm going to have to second that. Sorry to steal that from you. Both are very good, but I'm going Candyman, one of the best theme songs in horror history. Alpha, welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. Candy, easily. Wow, that was difficult. Just did a round of 32. Friday the 13th won mine. The last couple rounds are very difficult, LMAO. Okay, so Rusty filled it out. Another Friday the 13th winner there. But I won't keep you guys in suspense anymore. As much as I like The Witch, Candyman's moving on. It's just such a tough matchup for The Witch. Sometimes it runs into like, had The Witch been facing something else, who knows? But right now, Candyman going to the Sweet 16, baby. All right. Ooh, 80s matchup here. Now, I know this is going to be easy for most people, and I'm probably going to be with most people what I pick here. But that's not to say I don't love Steve Miner's House. I love Steve. I love House. I love fucking William Catt. Feeling better Now that we're through, you're no good, baby, you no good. Love, love, love House. To me, it's just the perfect 1980s haunted house movie with a great sense of humor, with William Catt, with George Wendt, with so many wonderful actors and performances, and just a fun time at the movies. I actually got the privilege to see this in the 35 millimeter. We saw it 35 millimeter on the big screen in like a horror night marathon, and this came on. And man, I enjoyed the movie with a crowd at 4 o'clock in the morning more than I had ever before. And I always loved the movie, but when I saw it with a theater with a crowd, I was like, this is fucking great. Like, I just adore the movie. So I know people probably hate me, but like, I think House is so underrated. I love the movie. Then there's Creepshow. Then you have Creepshow, which is like the horror movie anthology movie. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts. Granted, there are maybe 2 anthology horror movies I like more than Creepshow, but there's no denying that it's forever the majority's favorite anthology horror movie that there ever was. It's one of George's best movies. It's definitely top 5 in George's best movies of his filmography. I don't think anyone would doubt that. I know some people that might even have it as number 1 of George's best movies, and it was the most highly winning percentage movie-wise of this bracket by people who played. So Creepshow is going to be a tough one to knock out. And as much as I love House, as much as I love Steve Miner, you got to go Romero. You got to go Creepshow here. I just think it's just, I hate this matchup. God damn it. I feel bad for House, but Creepshow moves on. Oh, man. Now, we've been having some matchups that I didn't have to think too much about. This one we're going to have to think about a little bit. So let's get the comments before we get into this fucking matchup, because holy shit. Tough one, but Creepshow for me. I think it's tough too. I'm glad that I'm not the only one struggling there, because I think most would just say Creepshow, move on. There's no conversation here. Whereas I thought with House, I do think there's a conversation. I adore House, man. Tough one, but Creepshow for me. Okay, let me just click. I just lost where I was. Grande, you almost made the list. I hate The Witch. Okay, hey, that says, all right, sounds like The Witch. But hey, you guys voted it in. I forget what it went up against. It might have went up against Lords of Salem, so maybe that's why. Maybe that's why you guys voted it in. It won by a fair margin over the Lords of Salem. Never seen House. Creepshow 1, overrated. 2 is better. TV show is awesome. Wow. Okay, that's a hot take. Creepshow 1 is overrated. You never saw House. Creepshow 2 is better. And the show is awesome. Okay, that is a fucking hot take if I've ever seen one from the Daily Planet. Kal-El here. Creepshow, spell it, feel it, enjoy it. You, Rusty, Friday 13th won my brackets. Oh, there you go. Tales from the Hood was far better than Creepshow? Oh, shit, I don't agree with that. Body Bags was better. Holy shit. Okay, so Kal-El does not like fucking Creepshow. There you go. Oh, you're drunk as hell. Yeah. Do a best of the worst 32 round list. I want to see my Winnie the Pooh win. Oh my God. If you make it, Rusty, I'll put it this way. If you make it, I'll do it. I'll do the list if you make it. Phantasm all the way. Phantasm versus Lost Boys. Oof, tough. Yeah, this is fucking tough. You've had some blowouts here, but this is, I think, the toughest one so far. Winnie the Pooh, LFML. I think that what makes Creepshow such a classic horror movie is that it has the comic book style. Hard to choose. I love both Lost Boys and Phantasm. So do I. I love them both as well. It wasn't me voting The Witch in, I'll tell you that much. Okay, fair enough. The Lost Boys. It's okay, I'll say that. All right, so he's not drunk, goddammit. But holy shit, this is not fair. Like, of all the fucking movies to put against each other in the first round, Lost Boys against Phantasm. Jesus Christ. Well, let's run through both movies. So, of course, Joel Schumacher's The Lost Boys is a gorgeous film. It has one of the most pivotal and essential and distinct 1980s casts in Corey Feldman and Corey Haim and Jamie Gertz and Kiefer Sutherland as one of the best vampire heels that there ever was. Just love Kiefer in this movie. No one else could have played this role but Kiefer Sutherland. And this is a movie that actually won over Fright Night. This was, of all the movies that we did in the round of 64, this one came back from the biggest deficit. This was down by double-digit votes at a point and just ran the fucking table to get in. It must have had 15 of the last 17 votes to win by a vote. So absolutely wild, but Lost Boys snuck in, and man, it's a great movie. It's a fantastic movie. My good buddy who I see in the chat, Brian White, got me the 4K for my birthday. It's an insane transfer. I highly recommend people get that 4K because Joel Schumacher films, they're just meant to be seen in ultra high definition. I mean, there's just no other way around it. I love the story. I love the characters. I just love that it's essentially 1980s. It's just everything about the 1980s that we love in film. But then on the other hand, you have Don Coscarelli's Phantasm, which, and again, where we were talking about the 1970s, where I believe that's the greatest decade in horror's history, and I mentioned all the great heavyweights. The one that I always felt was not talked about enough of the 1970s. While the movie does get its due, it doesn't get put up there with those other movies I mentioned before, the Black Christmas, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Omen, Carrie, you name it. Phantasm's that movie for me. I think Phantasm was such a unique movie at the time because it did stuff that like Argento was doing in Italy. It brought that Italian type of flair and style, but to a very low budget Americanized horror movie that kind of had elements of Star Wars in there and science fiction and fantasy and the tall man and boy and the fucking little Jawas, the spear, just a incredibly imaginative, dreamsicle, whimsical horror movie that has given me nightmares from the very first time I saw it. I've always thought Phantasm was just a brilliant film because there was nothing else like it at the time in America. It really was taking the Italian style and then going to the United States. Don Coscarelli's parents helped fund the movie for him, and then of course took their money and made just an absolute classic horror movie that for whatever reason has just never been mentioned up there amongst the classics. I think it's one of the more underrated horror movies there ever was. Now, again, I know us genre fans love it, but how many people really going to put it up there with those other movies when I do believe it deserves to be in the conversation? I really, really do. I think Phantasm is that damn good. This is tough. Let's go back to comments and then we'll pick a winner here. If you haven't told me yet, let me know your thoughts. Let's see. Lost Boys for Miss C. Brian White's in the house. Frog Brothers for life. I guess that's a vote for Lost Boys. Lost Boys easy, though I do love Phantasm, but you're just not touching my boys. Fair enough, my friend. Russ has spoken. Never seen Tasm, but Lost Boys I watched for the first time last year. To be honest, soundtrack makes the movie better. Without, it's pretty good. With it, it's really good. Okay, it has a great soundtrack. That's true. There's no doubt it has the better soundtrack. Let's see. Fight All the Way, Marcy Darcy. Okay, fair enough. The funeral is about to begin, sir. Yes, gotta love it. I feel like My Bloody Valentine doesn't get the credit either, but that's diff decade. Well, that's going to be on here. My Bloody Valentine did make this list. Hey, the Gin Ninja in the house. Welcome, buddy. Ginge. What's up, Grande? Don't know if you saw the news. I did not. I've been streaming. JD Martinez is a Met. Hell yeah, buddy. That's fine. The Mets are going to be horrible anyway. They sure don't make horror like that. It has its own theme song anymore because My Bloody Valentine had a very of course, the Ballad of Henry Warden, fantastic. Saw the Lost Boys in the theater when it came out. Phantasm was one of my favorite VHS rentals ever. This is also nostalgic for me. Yeah, this is a tough matchup as Jamie Hart checks in, throws us a heart. Thank you, Jamie. I'm sorry. There's no matter what I pick, I'm going to piss people off here. But for me, it's Phantasm. I think Phantasm is a fucking great horror movie, and it's moving on, God damn it, to the Sweet 16. Lost Boys is out. Holy shit. Who saw this coming? All right, old school versus the new school here as The Cabin in the Woods takes on Damien Thorn and The Omen. Now, this is a fucking, who would ever think to put these two movies together? And while I do really enjoy Cabin in the Woods, I think Cabin in the Woods is an interesting movie because, of course, it's very self-aware. It has it feels a little bit like Truman Show in some ways. You have really interesting performances from an early Chris Hemsworth. You have, of course, what the fuck is his name? I want to say Richard Jenkins is one of the guys that's at the head. It's a very interesting commentary on horror movies itself. I thought it was a brilliant movie. And I do remain in believe in the fact that it's one of the best horror movies of the 2010s. To me, it's right behind It Follows, the best horror movies of that decade, of the 2010s. And of course, it did beat It Follows by a vote. That's why It Follows did not make it. But on the other hand, you do have The Omen, the original Omen, which is just an all-time horror classic. To me, great movie. Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, just great in their respective roles. I always remember the creepy scene at the kid's birthday party where, Damien, it's all for you. And she jumps out the window, hangs herself, crashes through the window. I remember when I first fucking saw that, I was like, holy balls. Like, I was like, holy fucking shit. Like that was just, I was never prepared for that as a child when I saw that. And it just horrified me. And I always thought the death scenes in Omen were just freaky. Like they're very Final Destination like it seems like it's like kind of like random events leading to these people dying. Like it's not somebody gets stabbed. It's just kind of like random events culminating into people dying. So, I mean, it is what it is. But to me, slam dunk for the Omen here. This is just not a close one for me. I love Cabin in the Woods, but you got to give it to the Omen. So the Omen's moving on. As Final Destination 2 checks in, yes, it pulled off the upset against Final Destination 1 in the round of 64. And it's going to take on Stephen King's Pet Sematary. Yes, Pet Sematary. Now, I love both these movies. And fun fact, while I know it was an upset and Final Destination is generally going to be considered the better movie of the first two Final Destination movies, I like the second one better too. I think that highway pileup scene is one of the best horror sequences in the history of the genre. I think it is just so well directed by David R. Ellis, another guy, may he rest in peace. I think it's just wild. It's crazy. It's realistic. It's raw. It's fucking unsettling. I really, really, really enjoy that sequence and how it's directed. It's just tremendous horror movie sequence. On the other hand, you have Pet Sematary, which to me has so much to say about life versus death. And sometimes dead is better. You better stay on that road, Ghost. I say you better stay on the road. Fred Gwynne, of course, Herman from the Munsters being the next door neighbor. Just amazing. I love Pet Sematary and the fucking Ramones. Sheena is a punk rocker. Sheena is a punk rocker. Come on, Graveyard. Sheena is a punk rocker now. Talking about, highway collisions and stuff in Final Destination 2. Here you have a fucking 4-year-old, 3-year-old, whatever the fuck year old kid getting plowed down by a 16-wheeler truck. And then we go to the funeral and the kid pops out of the coffin because of the fucking father and of course, father-in-law fighting each other. Holy shit. Pet Sematary is one of those movies that scares me to my core every day. It really does. I think the Zelda scene is just horrifying where she goes to give her the pea soup and the way she fucking contorts her body. Like, holy shit. That just gave me nightmares for forever. And Denise Crosby's in the movie. I love Denise Crosby in the movie. It's great. And not to say Final Destination 2, I think, is quite scary too. That elevator sequence is horrifying where lady gets fucking decapitated. The scene where the kid, he's in the dentist's office and you think he's going to die in the office. He gets out, scares a bunch of pigeons, and just gets fucking squashed like a grape with that plane of glass. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my God. Like, wow. I think both these movies work. But we got another blowout here. Sorry, the randomizer is not feeling close matchups so far in first round. Maybe two. Pet Sematary is a layup here. I love Pet Sematary. I think Pet Sematary's got to go over. Holy shit. And just as I fucking say, we don't have tough matchups, we get this. Oh my God. Let's go to comments. I got to tap out after that, man. Holy shit. The Omen easily. I don't like Cabin in the Woods. Never have. I love Cabin in the Woods. I think Cabin in the Woods is fucking great, but that's totally fine. And Omen has to go over. Boo, Phantasm. See, I think Phantasm fucking great. There are few horror movies at that time with that type of budget that had that much imagination and style and just integrating the Italian flavor in there. And Don Coscarelli was just so fucking good, man. I know that he's kind of weird in real life, but I think Don Coscarelli did a great job. Speaking of The Omen, the remake had Mia Farrow, who is known for playing the main protagonist in Rosemary's Baby. That's right. And I know The Omen is getting a prequel coming out. First Omen. Pet Sematary, Zelda freaked me out for life. Dude, me too. I am wholly there with you because Zelda has haunted my dreams forever. Y'all gotta be careful on the road. Stay off the road now, I say. Polanski's weird, creepy guy, but he's a genius director. That's fair. Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's totally understandable. Speaking of Pet Sematary, one of the classic movies that Fred Gwynne was in and uncredited was for On the Waterfront. Okay, he's also in My Cousin Vinny, which I always loved. I'm curious to see if Phantasm carries the momentum. Oh boy, so is that a prediction? Is that like a Scott Hall prediction? Like in WCW? Is that your prediction there where it's going to be Phantasm and Carrie in the finals? That would be interesting finals. But we'll see. Let's see. It's hard to decide which I love best because I love Videodrome and The Silence of the Lambs. I love both these movies too. I'm actually fucking at a loss for words. I don't know what to pick. Don't get me started on the damn prequel. Oh boy. If you choose Videodrome, someone's going to eat your liver with fava beans and a nice Chianti. Oh my God, Anthony Hopkins. I mean, wow. Cronenberg versus Demme. Fucking James Woods versus fucking Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins. Holy shit. Long live the new flesh. So it's long live the new flesh versus the guy that eats flesh. What I mean, can you get a better matchup than this in round one? Only on the Graveyard. Holy shit. I don't know what to pick. I have to talk this out. Jesus Christ. I mean, all right, let's talk it out. Videodrome is a great 80s horror movie. It has the commentary on censorship. It has the wonderful body horror. I think it's the best David Cronenberg film out there. I love Rabid. I love Shivers. I don't love Scanners. I think Scanners is better for the effects. The Brood is probably my second favorite Cronenberg. Love The Brood. Love The Fly. So many great Cronenberg movies. And his son has gone on to make some good movies. I like Possessor, and I really, really liked Infinity Pool. So big Cronenberg fan. I love him. And I think it's also a movie, too, that it's really short and sweet. It's like not even 90 minutes, Videodrome. It's in and out quick. There's sex, there's violence, there's commentary, there's meaning, there's really good performances by not just James Woods, who's great in the movie, but Deborah Harry. Yes, Blondie, baby. Let me tell you something. Deborah Harry was a fine-looking blondie, if you will, Cody. Gold does have all the gold, daddy. She was beautiful. I mean, she was absolutely fucking beautiful at this time, and just one of the best singers, a great talent, great in this role as someone who's into the pleasure of being hurt and feeling pain during sexual experiences and stuff like that. And she wants to try out for the show. Really good performance by Deborah Harry. And then, of course, Jodie Foster in a role that won her an Oscar. Anthony Hopkins in a role that won him an Oscar. And I know everyone comments on how long his screen time was, but yet we remember it forever. We remember Anthony Hopkins standing in the corner of the cell, like almost as if he was waiting for her to come down. It's a really wonderful performance from Anthony Hopkins. Of course, who could forget Ted Levine as Buffalo Bill and Goodbye Horses, I'm flying over you. Goodbye Horses. I mean, it's a great movie. It deserved Best Picture in 1991. And for once in a rare occasion, the Oscars did pick the Best Picture that year. Although I think Silence of the Lambs dropped in like February of 91. And all the way a year later wins. I mean, it had a whole interest for a year. And that's how great of a movie this was. I mean, I love Silence of the Lambs. It's a great movie. Fuck. I don't know what to. I have to flip a fucking coin. I really don't know. I love both these movies. Let's get to comments and I'll make my ultimate decision. But I think this is the hardest matchup maybe so far. Pet Sematary 2 is greater than Pet Sematary. Yeah, I was going to say, I hope you're joking. Pet Sematary 2 is like one of the weirdest fucking movies. Like, what the fuck, Clancy Brown? Oh my God, that movie. And the mother at the end, why did she start melting? Oh shit. Pet Sematary 2 is a joke, man. And the dad is fucking a dog. Like, he's in a sex scene and like visioning this woman, and then the woman becomes a dog. Like what? Like fucking weird. Silence of the Lambs. Okay. Hello, Clarice. Another Silence of the Lambs. Lecter scarred me for a long time. So it sounds like everyone's team Silence of the Lambs. Very difficult for me. But I'm going to say Silence. Okay. Tell me, Grande, can you hear the lambs screaming? Oh, lambs. Well, Jodie's great. 5 years before Silence of the Lambs, one of the movies probably no one talks about is Manhunter, which I actually think of any movie that's not Silence of the Lambs featuring Lecter, that's the best one. I like that. I hate Hannibal. Hated Hannibal. I hate that movie. Red Dragon's a little bit better. I never minded Hannibal Rising. But Hannibal is the biggest piece of shit. I hate Hannibal. Dominic St. Clair, that's a first-timer. Hey, welcome to the Graveyard, my friend. Hope all's well with you. If you're checking out the show for the first time, you can fill out the bracket underneath in the description box. If you want to play your round of 32, please go ahead and let us know who won for you, buddy. Oh, yeah, Dusty rated to the brackets. Hell yeah. Debbie Harry, my teenage crush. I'm dating myself, I guess. Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. Dude, I love Debbie Harry, too. Mr. Dan is here. Hello, Grande and friends. Hello, Dan. Hope all's well with you. Hannibal Lecter only killed 2 people on screen in Silence of the Lambs, but Hannibal Lecter didn't need to kill count. His presence was what had everyone compelled. Yeah, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry to fucking do this. It sounds like everybody's on Team Lambs, but get the fuck out of here. Videodrome. Let's go. Let's go. Videodrome, motherfuckers. All right. Oh man, another old school versus new school as the original Friday the 13th takes on Murders. This is my childhood versus the horror movie that made me realize the horrors of the adult world. This is fucking crazy. Um, this is crazy. Sentimentally, it's Friday the 13th. There's no doubt it's Friday the 13th sentimentally. What's the better movie? I think it has to go Martyrs. Like, I don't even think it's close as what's the better movie. Fuck, I don't know. Like, see, this is one, like, my brain says Martyrs, my heart says Friday the 13th. And just the excellent fucking turn at the end of fucking Mrs. Voorhees, and Jason should have been watched every minute. He wasn't a very good swimmer. I mean, she's great in that role. And Killer, Mommy, Killer. The Manfredini music, the Sean Cunningham direction that made it feel like a little bit bigger budgeted grindhouse movie. I just thought it was great. And Martyrs just had so much more to say. And Martyrs is one of those movies that it's very much up to your interpretation. It's a movie that's horrified me. I've had a hard time going back to rewatch Martyrs. Like, I think that's the brilliance of Martyrs too. It's so effective that it's not rewatchable for me. Of course, last year we did the round of 32. Martyrs went up against Inside. I picked Inside because it's more fun and rewatchable. Whereas I just feel like Martyrs is so bleak and disturbing. It's just really, really, really hard to get through more than a few times. So this is interesting. Let's hear what you guys have to say. Debbie Harris is a stunner. I hear you. Oh, we totally agree with that. Friday the 13th. Martyrs is the most messed up story Clive Barker never wrote. And I know Clive Barker loves the movie. Aiden, welcome, my friend. What makes Friday the 13th a classic is that it's basically murder mystery, although most of us know the plot twist. It creates the suspense. Totally. None of us would be here without Friday the 13th inspiring us to love horror. Well, you're right, actually right on the head with my particular case, because that's the movie that got me into horror. I told the very first episode of Grande's Graveyard, I tell the story of how this movie got me into the whole thing. And for that sentimental value, I may just have to go Friday the 13th. F-13, Pamela, Mademoiselle. Okay, fair enough. Jamie, loved the OG Friday as a kid, but it didn't age well. That's the thing with a lot of people. A lot of people hate the movie now. Like, I know a lot of people that will not tell you the original's their favorite or one of their favorites. And I never got that. I think the movie ages like wine. Like, I really consider it one of the best fucking horror movies ever, man. Let's see. Friday sort of introduced into the world of real life, the grieving mother, loss of her son, causing a murder spree. Sure, and the reverse psycho thing. Martyrs with Trilogy is the least favorite movies in the bracket. Was Martyrs or your least favorite, maybe? I thought Martyrs got some votes. Martyrs was like towards the middle of the pack. Trilogy was like bottom, like dead last by a lot. For me, I have to go sentimental here. I can't do it. I can't pick against Friday the 13th here. I can't. I love both movies. But I think Friday the 13th, just for sentimental reasons, has to go over. I do. So Friday's moving on. All right, interesting one here. Maniac versus Perfect Blue. Now, this is an interesting matchup. Of course, Maniac, the legendary Joe Spinell performance and scalping women and putting their heads on mannequins, and the great direction from William Lustig, a great, like, gritty New York City, almost felt like Taxi Driver if it was a horror movie in a way. Like, it felt like if Martin Scorsese tried to make Taxi Driver a straight up horror movie, Maniac may have been what we got. The whole mother dynamic is present in the film as well. Really enjoy the music by Jay Chataway. Really enjoy that. If Brian White's here, going to a show now. I mean, some of the fucking music in Maniac is great. And then you have Perfect Blue, which I saw it at a very pivotal point in my life where I remember I was working at Sirius XM, and this is before I got laid off and all that stuff. But I remember seeing this movie right around the time where I did get laid off from Sirius XM because of the COVID pandemic. And I really related to the movie. Now, I know the movie is interpreted in numerous different ways, and that's the whole beauty of it. It's really a movie that's more open to the interpretation of the viewer. But I saw a lot of myself in Mima's character. I really, really did. I thought it was just a brilliant movie. And basically, I see people in the comments saying they've never seen it. It basically tells the story of Mima, who is this like huge pop singer. She's huge. She's in part of this trio. They're big, big pop singers. The movie opens with they're literally on stage singing a pop song. And then, of course, their performance ends and she announces, hey, I've accomplished everything I've wanted to in the record world. I want to try my hand in acting. And basically, she becomes an actress and she starts to sell herself out in order to make it in the acting world. And basically, what happens is her whole world kind of spirals out of control around her. And these murders start happening. It's gory, it's crazy. There are some of the most beautiful visuals you will ever see in a horror film in this film. Satoshi Kon directs the shit out of it. And it's been ripped off to the point where I know Darren Aronofsky has had to buy the rights to this film. That's how many times he ripped it off. Like Black Swan is a Perfect Blue ripoff. That's all it really is. And he literally had to pay $59,000 just so he could make Black Swan without the legal repercussions because it's just so blatant. He ripped off more shots from Perfect Blue than any movie's been ripped off by one filmmaker ever. And it's crazy because they finally were just like, yeah, you might as well just give us the pay for the rights because you just keep ripping it off. It's a great movie. I really love Perfect Blue. I think it's just such a brilliant movie, and it has a lot to say about the horrors of, are the lights too bright? Will you sell yourself out to make it in something that you're not known for? And the horrors of trying to get into something else when you're known for one thing. Oh, this is your thing. You stick to what you know. And here's the horrors of someone trying to adapt and expand, and yet, no, you're typecast. You're pigeonholed to being what we think that you are. And there's a lot of horror in that. For me, I know I might be in the minority here, but I'd say Perfect Blue. I think Perfect Blue is a really, really good movie. And it's moving on to the Sweet 16. Let's see what y'all have to say, though, about this one. I think we were here. I got the First Friday Last on Jason list, but it wins this. Okay, wow. So Cal's got the hot takes tonight. Friday was more rewatchability. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, I can't. Martyrs is one of the hardest movies for me to rewatch. Like, I can't. Like, I have to be in the best fucking mood possible and then have Tom and Jerry on cue for after because it's just the most depressing film. Haven't seen Perfect Blue? Highly recommend. I think Perfect Blue's got to be seen by more people. It's such a good movie. Perfect Blue is so freaking good. Yeah, Perfect Blue is great. One of the classic comedy movies that is basically a 10 Little Indians style movie is the movie Clue, which has the plot involving characters in an isolated place and a vicious killer on the loose. Love both those movies. Never seen Perfect Blue. Tom, I think you'd love it, man. I highly recommend. Maniac is one of those slashers that really felt scary. Definitely, I would say right up there with Don't Go in the House. I always thought Don't Go in the House was even scarier. I always thought that was a scary film as well. Perfect Blue is a masterpiece. Yeah, I love Perfect Blue, man. Totally agree. Black Swan is definitely retelling of Perfect Blue. Yeah, it's a live action Perfect Blue. That's really what it is. And it's honestly, I don't think it's as good. Maniac has nothing that made me feel dirtier than that movie. Really, let me ask, have you seen Angst? That's a movie that made me feel fucking dirty, man. Like, Angst is, I was literally dry heaving while watching Angst, but Maniac is a damn good one, man. Perfect Blue and Mulholland Drive would be an excellent double feature. Oh, man, you want to get mind fucked? Hell yeah. That'd be a fun one. But, okay, real old school versus zombie. This is an interesting matchup here as the Dracula takes on the zombie. Holy shit. Fulci versus Browning. This is a fucking interesting matchup here. As much I love zombie, I love the zombie fighting the shark. I love the music. Fabio Frizzi's score is incredible in the fucking movie. I mean, I love the score. I mean, just great. Love the score of Zombie. It's fantastic. The design of the zombies themselves, I actually do think are better than the zombies designs in my favorite movie of all time, Dawn of the Dead. The design is better. The eye sequence is always iconic. Who could forget that? But then on the other hand, you have Dracula. I mean, that was really the first horror movie that really fucking made some noise. You know, I know you had silent horror movies and Nosferatu and The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari and all these movies that had come in the 20s. But Dracula was the movie that really fucking made the whole Universal Monsters label a label. And it really is arguably horror's biggest icon that there ever was is Count Dracula. It kills me to do this to Fulci, but I'm going to go Dracula. I think Dracula's got to go over here. Dracula's going to the Sweet 16 as we have two matchups left in round number one. Wow. Another old school and new school here. Cannibal Holocaust versus American Psycho. Holy shit. What the fuck, man? This is fucking cruel. Movies that are made 20 years apart. Christian Bale in his best role, in my opinion. I think Christian Bale is just fantastic in the movie. He's so fucking scary and unsettling and just great in the role. Love Christian Bale. The monologues are iconic. But then you have Cannibal Holocaust, which is like, I think, a great movie in and of its own right, too. Of course, it was one of the first found footage movies. Granted, the first most 45, 50 minutes of it is shot like a regular film. And then the footage with this, I think it's just great. I love the found footage stuff and Carl Gabriel York's performance. And in the movie, the scene where they see the woman impale on the pole and how real that looks to this day. It's one of the most realistic looking special effects I've ever seen is the woman on the pole. And then the whole commentary of the guy smiling and like, oh, good Lord, this is horrible. I can't believe the primitives these have, like the whole bullshit speech, but he's smiling in reality because, man, look at the footage I got. And the whole question that it provides the viewer, are we the cannibal? I wonder who the real cannibals truly are. Deodato's masterpiece, just a great fucking movie, and a movie that has unsettled me, a movie that's made me think, a movie that I think is just one of horror's all-time best and unsettling. And I know it's a movie that pisses people off because of the animal cruelty. I understand that. That's fine if you feel that way. But Cannibal Holocaust going over. Cannibal Holocaust fucking great. Cannibal Holocaust moving on. Next matchup here, the last matchup of round one. Holy shit, this is a fun one. Okay, this is a fun 80s slasher battle to end round one. So let's get to comments before we jump into this last of the 16 here, and we'll move on to round two. We'll try to get through these a little bit quicker. We're about an hour in here. Fulci Lives, such a daring director. I love Fulci, man. If you watch Dracula with its music score, it was done by Philip Glass. There you go. Got to go with Zombie, more rewatchable as much as I love Dracula and Bela Lugosi. Fair enough. Got to go Dracula. It's so iconic, and Dracula isn't even my favorite Universal monster. I would say so, too. I'd agree with Miss C. American Psycho, Patrick Bateman is chilling. Dude loves American Psycho. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Matteo. I really am. But I did rebound with an Italian director, although we haven't talked much Deodato, man. We got to talk Deodato sometime for sure. Hey, Grande in chat. Russ is in the house. Russ is cooking. What's up, buddy? Ginger Ninja says The Burning. So much fun. Of course, gotta love The Burning. Both of these movies are great. This is going to be a tough matchup to end it. The ending of American Psycho makes us wonder whether Patrick Bateman committed the murders, of course. And that whole monologue he gives on the phone. I had to kill a lot of people, and not really sure if I'm going to get away with it this time. It's just great. Love him in that movie. He's great. He should have won for that movie. My Bloody Valentine, this is a tough fucking round, though. Really dig both of these. Yeah, this is tough. This is like, holy shit. These are like the battle of two classic 80s slasher. The Burning, you had a very young Jason Alexander, and this was before he was bald. That's right. That's right. Fisher Stevens is in the movie The Burning. Of course, this was the first ever Weinstein-produced movie, of course. This was the movie that started Miramax, which is fucking crazy. Fuck the Weinsteins. I really enjoy both these movies now. The Burning is a movie that I always just thought was super underrated and like a movie that was a great Friday the 13th knock. Now, I know it went up against Mad Men and swept Mad Men. Now, one person voted for Mad Men, which I do love Mad Men too. The Burning is fantastic. First thing that always stood out was the Rick Wakeman score in The Burning. It's just amazing. Do, 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 da-na-na, do, 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 do. Such good music. I love that score. I think it's iconic. I loved Cropsy as a killer. I loved the Garden Shears, and tonight's the night. Tonight's the night we scare the shit out of Cropsy. Great stuff. I enjoy The Burning immensely. I really do. The only knock I have is the ending. I think the final act of The Burning doesn't live up to the first hour plus of it. It just, the last act isn't the strongest. My Bloody Valentine is, I know a lot of people will tell you it's the greatest slasher movie ever made. And then the Ballad of Harry Warden and fucking On a Valentine's Day. Just great stuff. I love my MBV. I love MBV. And to me, the movie uncut, now that it's been released uncut, and I know for years there were the cut versions and stuff, and I don't know why that was. I don't know what the issue was with that, or if it was George McHalka that found the fucking camera negative to release it uncut. But once they release that movie uncut, it becomes the classic that it is. It's just a great holiday slasher movie. And of course, it beat April Fool's Day, one of my faves, to qualify here. I love both movies. I really do. I think they're both quintessential 1981 slasher movies. And yes, that was the year of the slasher. So you got to pick. I mean, this is tough. Let's see, a couple more picks here. Salute the chat and panel. Mystic Mac. Mac, welcome, my friend. Hope all's well with you. MBV gets my vote. I haven't watched My Bloody Valentine yet. I will soon. Okay. My Bloody Valentine ending weak as hell and stupid. Okay, so I didn't like the ending of The Burning. Miss C doesn't like the ending of My Bloody Valentine. What goes over here? I'm going to give the edge to the camp slasher here. I like The Burning a little bit more. I'm going to lean The Burning, and that will conclude our first round of 32. On to the Sweet 16. And now we've talked about all of these movies officially, so we can run through these a little bit quicker for time's sake. We've been here over an hour. Let's run through these. Pet Sematary versus Dracula. Wow. This is tough. I mean, Dracula's classic and iconic, but Pet Sematary for me. I think you got to go Pet Sematary here. Pet Sematary to the Elite Eight. Yes. Yes, it goes. Okay. American Werewolf in London versus The Omen. Wow. Another one that's really tough. People saying Dracula. All right. I'm upset. I got three of you said Dracula. I'm so sorry. I would go Pet Sematary, man. I think Pet Sematary's got to go over there. The full burn in the opening scene of The Burning was done by a 17-year-old kid. That's a great effect for sure. Omen. Dracula, one of my all-time favorites. I love Dracula. Dracula went over fucking Zombie to get to that point, but I got to go Pet Sematary there. Pet Sematary's got just so much more to say, I think. This is tough. I mean, The Omen is a fucking great classic horror movie. And whereas American Werewolf in London, I think it's a little bit more well-rounded than The Omen. Like, it has a little bit more. This is tough, man. I'm at a loss for words here. Tom says American Werewolf in London. Dan says American Werewolf in London. Wow. Like, okay, American Werewolf in London is definitely the more entertaining movie. And The Omen is probably the more effective with its horror. This is tough. Wow, this is fucking tough, man. Do I have a coin I could flip here? Shit. I'm going to give the edge to American Werewolf in London. I think American Werewolf in London is slightly better. It's a little bit more rewatchable for me. So that's going to go over here. Oh, no. The battle of cheesy 1980s B horror. Goodness. This is terrible. Oh, no. I want to pick. Can I plead the fifth here? Do I have to pick? Oh, no. I know this is probably tough for no one else, but this is tough for me because you have like my favorite cheesy 80s slasher against my favorite cheesy 80s zombie movie. But you gotta go Return of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead to the Elite Eight. I'm sorry. Sleepaway Camp 2. I couldn't do it. Predator versus Carrie. What the fuck? Oh man. I don't know. What do we think of this one? Shit. Because again, this is two movies I would never ever think to put together. Like never. I would never think Predator versus Carrie. I don't know. I would never think to put these two against one another. But I don't know. Carrie against Predator. Interesting. Carrie, in my opinion, okay. Love both, but I got to go Return. American Werewolf in London for me, although my favorite werewolf film was always going to be Dog Soldiers. Neil Marsher joint. Awesome movie. Predator is the more action-packed, fun, entertaining movie, whereas Carrie is talking more about the horrors of bullying. You have the De Palma direction. I'm going to go Carrie. I think you have to go Carrie. It's a weird matchup, to be honest. So Carrie's going to go over. On to our next matchup. Videodrome taking on Perfect Blue. What the fuck? Body horror versus psychological horror. Oh, man. Videodrome just went over Silence of the Lambs. Is it about to get bounced by Perfect Blue? This is crazy. What the shit, man? I wish I could skip them. I wish I skip this. Come back to it. Oh, my God. Let's just fucking go. Died in a helicopter crash during the filming of Werewolf. He was 23. Oh gosh, two different worlds. Yeah, it is. That's a fucking weird matchup. I agree. Carrie because De Palma directed the shit out of it. Yeah, that's a great fucking argument. Although I would say that Predator's wonderfully fucking directed too. I can't think of the guy's fucking name. John something. What the fuck is his name? The guy that directed Predator. He only did a handful of movies. I can't think of his damn name, but Predator is a wonderful film too. Catch Me Grande, I May Faint. I can't believe Return won over Your Beloved Sleepaway Camp. You got to go Return. Return of the Living Dead was the zombie movie we needed at the time. It's never been duplicated. They've never made a zombie movie that expanded on that. Like even the sequel to Return of the Living Dead was just a pale in comparison movie. Like Return of the Living Dead is so of the era. I think you have to go Return of the Living Dead. Don't do this to me, man. Oh no, what? This matchup? Can't pick this one. I defer. Both are masterpieces. Oh Jesus. Long live the new Flash. Okay. The Howling, Company of Wolves, Dog Soldiers, Videodrome, I think you're trying to say. I'm gonna pick Videodrome by a slight margin. I don't know. This is fucking really hard, man. I like, okay, Videodrome has more to say about like censorship, but I think Perfect Blue is just so psychologically disturbing. John McTiernan, thank you. Sorry, I totally blanked on that. I don't know why. Yeah, that's right. Die Hard he directed too. Return of the Living Dead, I agree. Return of the Living Dead 2 is a piece of shit. Return of the Living Dead 3 is awesome. I love the Living Dead girl and what's her damn name? Melinda Clark. She's great. I like Return of the Living Dead 3. Hate Return of the Living Dead 2. That's a piece of shit sequel. This pick could change any day depending on my mood. And you know what, man? I probably agree with that. But for me, for what it said to me and for the impact it had on my life, I'm going to go with Perfect Blue. I think it's a little bit better. Perfect Blue to the Elite Eight. Holy shit. And oh my God, don't do this to me. Jesus Christ. Fucking Phantasm versus Cannibal Holocaust? Why do you do this to me? You might have my favorite horror movie of 1979 taking my favorite horror movie of 1980. This is crazy. Fuck, man. These are just getting harder and harder. I don't know what the fuck to do. This is like, I'm just at a loss for words with these past. This second round has been a lot fucking harder than the first round. Like, what the fuck? I mean, Phantasm is fucking great. Don Coscarelli's direction's great. The creativity is great. It's off the charts. It's such a great movie. Was it all a dream? I love that the sequels that it spawned. Love Phantasm 2, 3, 4, Oblivion. I like those movies a lot. I always thought it was just a really, really underrated movie. Cannibal Holocaust, though, is like timeless. Like it's the video nasty. It's the fucking banned movie. It's like the unsettling movie experience of all time. It's just so fucking raw and disturbing and unsettling that I'm going to have to give it to Cannibal Holocaust, man. Cannibal Holocaust going over. Cannibal Holocaust to the Elite Eight. Creepshow versus The Burning. I like The Burning a lot, but Creepshow, that's the easiest matchup we've had so far here in round number 2. Last matchup of the round. Oh, shit. Candyman versus the Friday the 13th. Wow. I mean, shit. Again, Candyman's probably better, but I would say I'd rewatch Friday the 13th over it. Like if I'm doing a marathon of horror movies and slasher movies or whatever, I would go to Friday the 13th over it as a rewatchability thing. Again, brain says Candyman, heart says Friday the 13th. So far, we've gone with our heart every time that's happened. So we're going to go with our fucking heart here. And Friday the 13th will be the last movie to move on to the Elite Eight. Let's do it, guys. Three more rounds. And oh my God, this is cruel. Creepshow versus fucking Friday the 13th. Well, wow. I mean, this is a punch in my fucking face right here. This is a punch in my face. As much as I love Friday the 13th, you have to go Creepshow. You just have to go Creepshow here. It's way better directed. I think they're both timeless movies, but I think Creepshow is like the horror anthology. Granted, Friday the 13th, in my opinion, is the most influential slasher movie of all time because it was so ripped off. I think it's the most ripped off horror movie, arguably, that there ever was, is Friday the 13th. But for me, I think you have to say Creepshow here. I think you just have to. Creepshow goes over. Fuck. Fuck. Oh, man. This is fucking cruel. I don't even want to pick this. right now, I feel like these are the underdogs of this whole fucking thing, these two movies. And I think they're both masterpieces. I really do. These two could easily be the final for me. That's how much I love these movies. Perfect Blue or Holocaust? Shit, man. I don't know. What do you guys have to say? Granny cut my arm off making these choose between these movies. Yeah, it's tough, man. Yeah. Gotta go Friday. Creep Show, no contest. Creep Show. Friday 13th is iconic. It's gotta win between the two. Creep Show 2 is underrated as well. Perfect Blue, Cannibal over Blue, Diodato. I love Cannibal Holocaust, though. Perfect film. Yeah, I think they're both perfect. I really do. Pun intended for Perfect Blue. I really do. I think they're both perfect movies. It wouldn't change a thing about them. Man. Wow. This is the hardest matchup so far for me. I think we got to flip a coin. Do I have a coin? Fuck. I don't want to pick. I really don't want to pick. I think, fuck. We're going to have to just pick one. We're just going to have to do it. If I get Perfect Blue and Slide, I don't know. I don't know what to pick. This is just so terrible. I feel like you should just flip a coin. We're gonna have to go Holocaust. Diodato's moving on into the final four. Perfect Blue eliminated. Let's do it. Wow. A battle of a cat and a werewolf, ladies and gentlemen. Who do we got? Who do we got in this epic battle of 1980s horror goodness? Landis against fucking Mary. What the fuck is her name? Not Mary Herron. Mary Lambert. Mary Lambert against fucking John Landis. Fucking Dale Midkiff. This is tough. I really like both of these movies. Pet Sematary is scarier. Pet Sematary is more effective with its horror. But that's not to say Werewolf isn't effective with it either. And I think Werewolf is a little bit more grand with the whole comedy aspect of it. Yeah. And I even see, as I say, Tom mentions that, the comedy aspect of it, which is, but then again, Pet Sematary is not going for anything like that at all. Pet Sematary is just fucking not really a laugh in there. Like there's child death in fucking Pet Sematary. I love the movies. I really do. I love both movies. It's the Ramones versus Creedence. God damn it. Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary's got to go over here. Pet Sematary to the Fatal Four. It's moving on. Werewolf bounces out. And wow, what will be the Bubble Boy of the Final Four? Carrie or the fucking Return of the Living Dead? Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Again, this is impossible. See, I wish it would have been Return of the Living Dead versus American Werewolf and Carrie versus Pet Sematary. That, I think, would have been more fun matchups and easier for me personally. Shit. Yeah, as much as I think Return of the Living Dead is great, I think Carrie's got to win here too. Carrie goes over. Carrie to the Fatal Four, baby. De Palma versus Romero. Holy shit. This is a matchup and a half here. Holy crap. Final Four here, guys. What do you think? What are you guys picking here of the Final Four? What's winning this whole fucking tournament right now? I can read some comments. Pet Sematary, Carrie. Let's see. Well, let me click the top comments. What the fuck? Werewolf, Pet Sematary. Okay. So we had our Return was more fun. Return is more fun for sure. Return of Living Dead, trash over Carrie. Creep Show, going Carrie again. I love both of these, but it's Carrie. Well, it's Stephen King versus Stephen King. Wow, Stephen King has affiliation with 3 of these Final Four movies. That's crazy how that happens. Damn, this is tough. Gonna have to go Carrie too. I'm with Carrie. Carrie to the final 2, ladies and gentlemen. Go, Carrie, go. And now, this is a fucking interesting match here. Pet Sematary against Cannibal Holocaust. I think both these movies are really good in what they're trying to do, and they're just fucking so brutal. Pet Sematary more in the implied horror, whereas Cannibal Holocaust is more in what you see It's just so fucking it's one of the few horror movies where it's like they show everything. Like you are not going to be disappointed, man. It really is. See, this is great. Cannibal Holocaust for me. Pet, no animals were harmed. Fair enough. That's a fair fucking one. Yeah. So Carrie made it to the final. Yes, Carrie's in the finals. And what will its opponent be is the question here. They're all going to laugh at you. They're all going to laugh at you. That's a good one. If I don't pick Carrie, they're all going to laugh at me. Wow. But who laughs at me here? Is there anyone who laughs picking these two movies? Because, man, this is tough. I mean, I gotta go. Oh man, this is like picking a favorite child. Let's try to talk this out because this is tough for me. Pet Sematary is so fucking classic. Everything about it works. I love the whole fucking sequence with Judd getting his Achilles torn and fucking the kid come back to life and about the ground went sour and Timmy Baterman and the whole backstory. That stuff's great. Cannibal Holocaust, though, man, like that whole finale where that fucking crew gets what they had coming to them. They have murdered and tortured animals. They have like fucking had sex in the ashes of huts and houses that they burned down of these tribes that live in the Green Inferno. They have taken advantage sexually of their women. I mean, just the most cruel, heinous, vile people finally getting their comeuppance in the finale where they get raped themselves, castrated themselves, fucking tortured themselves. Some of the great camera work and Carl Gabriel York selling with his eyes and, oh my God, they're going to kill us all. Just fucking one of the best endings. And then make sure this never reaches the light of day. And they fucking walk out and I wonder who the cannibals really are. And just great. Cannibal Holocaust. Cannibal Holocaust going to the fucking finals. Let's do it, motherfuckers. Carrie versus Cannibal Holocaust. C versus C. Place your bets. Who's going over tonight? Only on the Graveyard. Let's get to the comments. Let's see what y'all have to say. I won't laugh. Pet Sematary again. Pet Sematary. Grande. Gizmo's in the house. Pet Sematary versus Carrie. No, ma'am. We're going Cannibal. Cannibal is truly experienced like no other. A beautiful soundtrack. Oh my God. I didn't mention the soundtrack of all this time. The Riz Ortolani soundtrack of that movie is truly amazing. To have a soundtrack that beautiful in a movie that disturbing is fucking crazy. Like, it's fucking nuts. Like, do, 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 do. Great stuff. I mean, Riz Ortolani was great. And, of course, the same year he did the House on the Edge of the Park score. Sweetly, oh, sweetly. Great stuff. I love the music there. All right, this is the final matchup, so we'll break it down, I guess. Carrie, my final two were Carrie and Silence of the Lambs. Silence was my winner. Carrie needs to win this one. Okay, Carrie for the W. All right, we're all on Team Carrie right now, it looks like, except Mac. But we'll break these down. Since this is the final matchup, this has been a lot of fun. Director versus director, you got to go De Palma. De Palma was just at a different level here. And just the way he directs the whole prom sequence, when Carrie is getting up from the table, walking to the stage, and you get these beautiful playing with the colors and stuff like, it's gorgeous. I love how he plays with the colors in the film. It's just really, really experimental, but beautiful at the same time. And of course, talking about the horrors of bullying. And Stephen King just wrote a fantastic story that I think anyone and everyone could relate to this movie. If you've ever been a bully, if you've ever been a victim of bullying, anyone and everyone has experienced it in some way, shape, or form, whether you were the bullier, bully, or witness, one of the three. You had to be one of those three at one point in your life. So the story is definitely going to talk and speak to more people. It's definitely far more relatable. And dare I say, though, I guess the thing that movies have in common is the revenge element. Carrie gets revenge on John Travolta and all the people that wronged her and treated her like monkey shit. And Cannibal Holocaust, this grimy, disgusting, preppy New York City film crew that go to the Green Inferno and take advantage of these tribes just for their own pleasure, for their own footage, for their own personal sick sadistic enjoyment, and torturing, killing animals for real and raping people. I mean, it is a disturbing film, all the stuff they do in it. But they, of course, have revenge taken upon them too. They get what they have coming for them in the end. And I think, as much as I don't agree with killing animals for real, and I think it's disgusting that they did it. Number one, it was a different time. Number two, it does add an element to how much of a disgust that you have in the lead antagonists. It makes you hate them more. And then at the end, when they fucking get brutally murdered on camcorder, it's like you cheer inside. Like, yeah, like it is a huge, exciting moment. It really is. And it's a movie that really defined the video nasties. I mean, that's the one. I know Chainsaw is the reason the whole list got started, although it's not a video nasty. Holocaust is the movie that really defines that entire list. It may not be the best movie on there, but it's definitely the movie that defines that list as a whole. This is crazy. As much as I like Sissy Spacek in Carrie, I love Carl Gabriel York in Holocaust. I always thought his performance was so undersung, considering he was casted last minute. I think he was casted because the guy they wanted for the role, he didn't want to do it because they were going to be doing all these crazy things. And then they found him in the airport and were like, hey, do you fit in these boots? And he said, why? And they're like, just try the fucking boots on. He put on the boots and got on the plane and filmed the movie as the lead actor. And he did a great job. Like, he's so evil and maniacal in the movie. So actor-wise, I would say him over fucking Sissy, and then Piper over anybody else in Holocaust. Music I'd give to Holocaust. Legacy you give to Carrie. Wow. I don't know. This is really, really a good final two. Like, I think they each have unique points that would make it reasonable for them to win. Carrie for the W. De Palma, no doubt, is the superior director. There's no question. Yeah, it's just no question. Lost Cannibal World, aka Jungle Holocaust. I'm a huge sucker for cannibal movies. Thoughts on the Carrie remake? I did do a Carrie episode, and I ranted on the Carrie remake. Granted, it's in 240p quality, but I hate the Carrie remake with Chloe Grace Moretz. I like the Carrie remake with Angela Bettis, as I was saying earlier. I'm going Carrie, but De Palma hasn't made a movie that people thought was real. Wink. Okay, so I guess that's maybe your brain is going Carrie and your heart goes Holocaust, maybe? Speaking of one of the bullied, I have to go with my heart and vote for Carrie. That's fair enough. Hey, I think either one of these makes sense for picking. I really do. I think these are two great horror movies of all time. I don't think there's a wrong choice here. And there's movies that I think Perfect Blue would have had a great chance here. I think, wow, it's tough. Like, I think American Werewolf in London, had it not gone against Carrie, would have been interesting to see if it got here. Like, there's a lot of movies that could have gotten these final two slots. But for me, personal preference, again, brain says Carrie, my heart says Holocaust. I'm going Holocaust for the winner of the Grandes Graveyard March Madness 2024. Your winner is Ruggiero Deodato's Cannibal Holocaust. Come on down, do your victory lap. We have completed the madness. Was that maddening enough for you? Was that mad enough for you? Yes. Who saw that coming? Cannibal Holocaust wins the fucking bracket of 32 horror movies voted in by you, the fans. I appreciate everyone that checked out the show tonight. This has been so fun. I really enjoyed doing this. I'd love for you guys to, if you haven't filled it out, if you're catching the replay, fill it out. Let me know what you guys picked. If you guys are still in the chat and remember your final four or your final two, let me know right now. I would love to hear, what it came down to for you guys. Sounds like Carrie was definitely in a lot of people's finals. I think Lost Boys was like the second highest movie voted, and that was gone in round one to Phantasm. So that's pretty crazy, man. Damn. Yes, I broke some hearts. I know. Carrie, if you got taste for terror, Carrie's your girl. Love Carrie. Carrie's great. You could easily go with Carrie too. You really could. I think they're both great movies. I really do. But I don't know. Just there's something about Holocaust for me that just fucking works. Like, I think every time I watch that movie, I like it more. Like, and it is. I know it's like Martyrs is disturbing, and so is Cannibal Holocaust. But Holocaust, I can rewatch it anytime. Like, it's one of those movies that I think it just has so much to say about psychology. I think it's something that everyone hears the reputation of the movie, and it does have a reputation for a reason. I think that movie psychology, what it has to say, the social commentary on fucking film, and how we all want sensationalism and we all want our senses overload with all this crazy gore, violence, and goodness. I think it has a lot to say. I do. It's almost commentating on itself. It's interesting. Same here, Grande. My winner was Carrie in the brackets. Okay, there you go. So we were close. Great stream, Grande. I'll definitely play this one back. Thank you so much, Mac. And Mac, I hope that I know you asked for some digital codes that I had. I hope they all worked. You never got back to me, but hope they all worked, man. It's truly a special film, in my opinion. I agree, man. I agree. I think Cannibal Holocaust it's one of those movies, man, that every time I watch it, I like it more. I'm not going to lie, ain't happy about your winner, but totally respect your opinion and choices. Great show as always. Only. Thank you, Miss C. No, Miss C, hey, I know your heart was on Friday, and it was hard for me. Friday made it to the Elite Eight, but, man, you go up against Creepshow. You go against George. That's going to be a tough one to beat any day, man. But, yeah, no, this was a lot of fun. I had a great time doing this. Russ, a couple more comments. The real animal killings at start of the slasher film Seed are more disturbing than Holocaust. Yeah, it's a disturbing movie, Cannibal Holocaust. There's no doubt about it. And I know there are cut versions. I think the 4K it's only released as the cut version. Like, I don't think they're going to release the animal cruelty versions anymore, which is understandable. If you have the Grindhouse releasing, it has both versions. So if you're not comfortable with that, that's totally understandable too. But yeah, no, I had to go Holocaust here. I think weirdly enough, Perfect Blue might have been the runner. Like, I love that movie. Like, that would have been a really hard movie to knock off for me. And they faced in the Elite Eight, I think they faced each other. So that could have easily been the final. I think Perfect Blue was like my underdog in the whole thing, and then unfortunately ran into the winner. So that happens. But it doesn't look like we have any more comments. So brief telling of what we'll be doing next week on the show. Next week, it's a first time ever, I'll be interviewing someone. Yes, next week on the show, I'll be interviewing the wrestler. This is as a part of the contest that we did on Grande's Graveyard, where we celebrated all the thousands and hundreds or whatever of subscriptions and subscribers that we got. The guy that won requested that I interview this local wrestler named Rage. So we'll be having Rage on the show next week. We'll be asking him all things about his wrestling career, how he got into it. He's a big horror fan. I met the guy, has some cool horror Captain Spaulding tattoos and stuff like that. So he's going to be cool to talk to. We'll be interviewing him next week. And then, of course, during the course of the next few days, I'll release the schedule for April. Have a lot of fun things planned for April. So you're not going to want to miss that stuff. Thank you all for watching tonight, though. This was a lot of fun. This was awesome. If you guys, again, if you haven't filled out your bracket, you could click down in the link below, the description below, fill it out. Let me know what you have as the winner. And if you catch the replay, let me know what you agree with, disagree with, and all that good stuff. Grant, on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you for the new Alien movie? I would say 0. It looks like Alien and Aliens, the fucking combined. It's like we'll do the skeleton crew of Alien, but multiple aliens like Aliens, and then we'll fucking cash in. And we have Fede Alvarez coming back to direct. I don't like Fede Alvarez. He was the producer. It's from the two writers that brought us Texas Chainsaw 2022. Which, if that can't tell you enough, holy shit, Texas Chainsaw 2022 sucks. So I have no interest. I really don't have any interest. Now, granted, it doesn't look better than Alien Covenant. Yeah, it does look better than that. I like Kaylee Spaney as an actress. She was fantastic as Priscilla in the Priscilla movie. But as far as excitement now, to me, Alien, the first Alien is the best. Like, I like Alien, and that's really, like, even... I don't know. Aliens I like, but I still like Alien way better. Like, I don't even think it's close for me, but I don't know. Maybe a slight spoiler. There may be an Alien related show coming in April. April Alien, whatever the fuck. We won't spoil exactly what that show is going to be because it might not be what you're thinking. 11, okay. Awesome stream, Grande. Texas, thank you so much, man. Be shipping out your shirt soon. Okay, hey, Tex. Agreed. The OG Alien is one of my all-time favorite films. Yeah, Alien 1 is, to me, the movie to see in that franchise. After that, I would avoid it like the fucking plague, to be perfectly honest with you. But everybody, again, thank you so much for checking out the show tonight. This was a lot of fun. leave us a like, leave us a share, whatever. Leave us your fucking March Madness brackets. And next week we'll be interviewing Rage, which will be a lot of fun. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Have a safe, happy, healthy weekend. And we can catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Two Sweet Peas. Good night, everybody.